at the Holy Grail Banks. As always, it's presented by Budweiser, UDF, and the Holy Grail here on the Reds.
Experience Reds history all year long at the Fame and Museum for Reds of all ages. The museum features interactive exhibits, including thousands of acts over 1 years. Kids even younger, thanks to guest fountain. Better also be free admission. Plan your next visit at Reds.
The best things about game day drinks are the snacks. That's JTM Food Group. Our culinary teams worked hard to create a flavorful beer that will make you the ingredient cheddar blend and Belgium's that is a combo with pretzel for a perfect top cheese, along with other chef craft favorites in your local grocer's freezer section. JTM, let's create great dishes together.
This holiday season, the Ohio Suicide Prevention Foundation wants you to know you're not alone. The greatest gift you can give doesn't cost a thing, just a moment of your time. Be present for someone and get real about mental health. Be the hero. Letting someone know you care could save their life. To learn how to become a voice for suicide prevention and jumpstart these important conversations, visit ohiospf.org. We can help you help those you care about.
This is Phil Castellini. As president and COO of the Reds, I see a lot of talented performers. One of the most talented groups I work with off the field is MSA Design, the region's leader in sport, education, civic, and corporate design. MSA Design is the official architect of the Reds, and I'm always impressed with their creative solutions, passionate approach, and personal care for every project. Their award-winning team also works with UC, Xavier, NKU, Beacon Orthopedics, Great Oaks Career Campuses, and many more. See what MSA Design can do for you at msaarch.com.
The Holy Grail Tavern and Grill and Bud Light are proud sponsors of the Hot Stove League. Join us at the Holy Grail to cheer on your favorite college team. Every UC, XU, UK, and OSU game, you can enjoy a bucket of 5 ice-cold Bud Lights at the Holy Grail at the Banks, located next to Great American Ballpark. Join us for all the Cincinnati Cyclones home games and watch every play in high def on our 80-inch HD TVs. The Holy Grail and Bud Light. Your search is over.
I'm Phil Castellini, and be sure and tune in to WSLM Country for a chance to win Reds tickets and come see our Reds play at Great American Ballpark. Hope to see you there.
The beauty of fall is upon us, and that means prices are falling so you can rake in the savings at Billy Martin Store. Our display floor is full of beautiful quality name brand furniture like Bushline beds, living room suite, recliners, rockers, tables, and lamps, an array of styles and fabrics to suit any decorating needs you have. And with the holidays quickly approaching, now's the time to replace your flooring with new carpet, vinyl, tar, or hardwood. From Mohawk, Shaw, CDC, Golden, Tarkett, or Somerset hardwood. We have a huge display of new styles, patterns, and colors to choose from at everyday low prices. Billy Martin Store offers you free estimates, professional installation by our own installers, and 6 months same as cash on all merchandise and appliances. We also offer free Christmas sleigh away. So this fall, why not drive on out to the country and save a lot at Billy Martin Store? No sales gimmicks to run. We just sell every day at low prices on top quality name brand merchandise and appliances. Billy Martin Store is located in the heart of downtown Martinsburg. Or feel free to give Janice or myself a call today at 967-3997 and we'll be glad to help you.
When you need to find a thought at a price that's right, that red and blue sign is just within sight. Roll in to Conquest and roll on.
Stop in and see Roland Boot at RL Parts Plus at 1318 Jackson Street, right here in Salem.
Roll in to Conquest and roll on.
Things up on the Reds Hot Stove League. We've been live at the Holy Grail Banks. As always, the show is presented by the Holy Grail, Budweiser, and UDF. Fans can visit the Moorline Lager House on Saturday, November 13th to meet world champions and Reds alumni Tom Browning, Bill Doran, and Todd Benzinger. Purchase the 1990 world champion Reds beer stein package for just $20 and get one autograph from each player. Team beer stein with free beverage, a commemorative pin, and admission to the Reds Hall of Fame and Museum, presented by Dinsmore. For details, visit redsmuseum.org. Jim, that conversation, as we talked about, always enlightening with Joey, and it stands to reason that he kind of expects last year not just to be an outlier, that he feels like he can not only have that kind of season again next year, but even improve upon it.
How about him giving me a 6-minute answer?
All right.
One question. I thought it was fascinating that he said when he changed his approach with years of bleeding together, I guess 2019 September, it took him till the end of June to get his body right to have this new power approach. I thought that was fascinating, and that's about the time he started going on the tear.
Right.
So now that he has a full off season to prepare for that, and the way he talked about he struggled against left-handed pitching, he could. I think he's in line to be as successful as he was this past year, even at his age.
Always a fun show. Plenty more to get to next week. We will be in studio for Jim Day, Yid, Taryn Bland. I'm Tommy Thrall. Thanks for joining us. Catch you next week on the Reds Hot Stove League on the Reds Radio Network.
I'm Phil Castellini, and you're listening to 1220 AM WSLM Country. You're in Reds Country.
American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is built to a higher standard, so you can focus on the problems in your life that really actually matter. Like the gap between your bed and wall that's big enough for your phone, but not your hand. Or the gutters growing their own trees. Or the wall outlet your kids keep calling Sparky. Whatever you're worrying about, it won't be your heating or air conditioning. American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, built to a higher standard.
Give Seth at Marshall's a call today at 812-967-3742, and we'll be glad to take care of you. This is season 49 of Coach's Corner, and we're entering into the winter sports season, and we'll be highlighting basketball and wrestling. First started in 1972. We're proud to continue Coach's Corner on WSLM for our listeners to get to know the coaches, players, and staff of each local high school and get the X's and O's each from Eastern, Salem, and Western Washington. Our host, Nate Pierce, will be talking with our coaches for tonight's program. Join us on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. for the Red Hot Stove League for the latest from the Cincinnati Reds, and stay around for Coach's Corner. You'll hear from IU and Purdue basketball coaches during the week here on WSLM as well. You're listening to us on WSLM 97.9 FM and WSLM 1220 AM, along with live streaming on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Be sure and follow us all season for a front row seat and a closer look at high school sports. Be sure and set your dials to WSLM 97.9 FM and 1220 AM next week for Coach's Corner, live brought to you in part by Salem McDonald's, to get a front row seat into local high school sports with your coaches from Eastern, Salem, and Western Washington. Your host, Nate Pierce, will be back next week with more from the Eastern, Salem, and West Washington sports.
I'm News Store Manager Shelby Lehman, and I'm excited to see.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Coach's Corner. This is the first edition of the winter sports version of Coach's Corner. You know, we've been doing this for 49 years, and this is the first time we've actually gone beyond football. So we are actually live with Coach Jerry Hickey. He is Salem's girls varsity basketball coach. How are you tonight, Jerry?
I'm doing all right. Thank you.
All right. I got your name right that time. I apologize about that. I've had Brian stuck on the head on my brain all night, and I couldn't figure out why.
He gets my name wrong half the time, too, Jerry. It's not that big a deal.
That's our guest coach, co-host, Chris Hunt. So, Coach, tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been the girls basketball coach out there at Salem?
This is year 9.
Year 9. All right. You guys have had a lot of success with that program here in the last few years, haven't you?
We've had a good run here. I think even starting we won our first sectional my second year in 2015, and 3 more since then. So I think we're 4 out of the last 8 so far is what we're looking at. You
had a pretty decent state run there a couple years ago too, didn't you?
Yep, made it to the state championship game. You know, we dealt with the loss of Leah Miller that year. Still made it, not many teams can say they lose their best player and still make it to the state finals, but we were able to do that, and something we're pretty proud of.
Yeah, and I remember watching that. I'll admit that I'm not a big basketball guy. I've never really gotten into basketball, but that was one that I definitely was watching on the IHSAA app on TV. That was a really exciting game, and it was to see those girls get out there and play their hearts out was really heartwarming for us.
Yeah, just a great opportunity for our girls, for our community, everything. Um, Unfortunate, for a team with a bunch of shooters, that's a hard gym to go up and play in. It's just not a shooter-friendly gym, and we struggled that night.
Yeah. How many of those girls are still with you?
Our seniors now, we're sophomores in, so we've got 5 seniors, and they were all sophomores. 2 of them played significant minutes in the game, and then 3 of the other ones checked in and got a little bit of time there at the end.
All right. Like I said, I haven't been, the biggest, basketball watcher, so I don't know a whole lot about the game. But it seems like you guys have got a pretty decent program here.
Well, I think that's something that we're proud of. We've worked hard, and we've had some good players come through. But if you go back and look over the course of the last 8 years, I think we're in the top 10 in the most wins in the state, regardless of class, over the last 8 years. And that number just kind of goes up when you go to the last few years. So.
Right. And that's something I didn't know about. That's really cool that, we've had that much success there in Salem. Now, with that much success, and you guys got to play in that big game, how does that feel when you're out, on that court?
It's great. It's just great for an opportunity that we're a 3A school, but we're one of the smallest 3A schools in the state.
That's right.
And, we've got 530 kids, and we play a lot of teams with almost 1,000 kids. It's just good to represent our community. We have great community backing when we get into that situation and for every game. So just talk about the opportunities for our kids, our coaches, our families, our community. A great experience.
Yeah, and that's one thing, you kind of touched on there. All the Salem schools, athletics seem to travel well. It seems like, whenever we go somewhere, we take the whole crew. Everybody comes. We got busloads of people, and, we pack the house.
Yeah, for sure. And when you're winning, it's even more. We've got great support, but definitely when you're winning. And I think what we've had these last several years is we've just had kids that are easy to cheer for. Just nice kids in the community, and that just makes people want to come out and support when you have kids that do things the right way.
Right, and and that goes through for all the sports, and that's kind of why we wanted to extend Coach's Corner this year and focus on some of the winter sports. It's really nice to get some of the other sports on the radio here and get some of these coaches on and interview them. We even did a JV football game on the radio this year, so we're really trying to spread the focus on all of the athletics in the communities. So from your perspective, how important is the exposure for your sport?
Well, I think anything to promote girls athletics specifically. I'm biased, of course. I've been coaching girls basketball for a long time and have 2 daughters, but I think sometimes the girls side of it just gets overlooked. And you look at pros, and the pros garner all the money and all the following, and it trickles down a little bit into high school as well. But we're just trying to put a product on the court where people want to come watch and people want to follow and be interested. And I think a lot of that starts with, again, the type of kid you have. And we play hard, and I think we're just a fun group to watch and have been over the last several years.
Right. I've been a youth football coach for the past 10 years, and I was assistant wrestling coach at the high school for a couple of years. So I know exactly what you mean about, making sure you've got the right kids out there, and, you pretty well mold these kids from, a young age to be the great adults that they're going to be when they grow up and leave high school. With any kind of team sport, you always feel like that you've got a family there. Do you push that, that mindset with the girls?
Sure. And I think that breeds into some of our success. I have other girls and even other coaches that say, like, why is your program different? There's something different about your program. Like, you guys seem tight knit. We don't have all this pettiness. And we have girls that play other sports that say, like, basketball is just different. there's not this drama that we have in a lot of other situations. And it's difficult to explain. I've had somebody ask me before, like, what do you guys do that makes this different? And I said, honestly, if I could tell you that, I'd write a book, make $1 million, and go live on the beach.
Right. Well, I grew up on the beach, and I don't recommend it. So you guys played Crawford County. What night was that? Last night. And that was a pretty dominating performance. I went to Crawford County actually for 1 year when I was a kid, and they're all about basketball out there. So it must feel pretty good to go out there and take on a team like that and win so commandingly.
And it was. We had a good performance. Our first quarter was the best first quarter of girls basketball I've ever seen.
Really?
Our best quarter at all. We put up 32 points in the first quarter.
Wow.
And that's pretty unheard of for high school basketball, boys, girls, but especially for girls because it's usually a little slower game. We played some teams in the past that have been really down, like a Clarksville, and at the end of the first quarter, it's 28-0, something around there. But to score 32 points in a quarter against a team that is as talented as Crawford is pretty amazing. We were clicking on all cylinders, and I think it was 32-9 after the first quarter. We just kind of continued to roll from there.
Awesome. So you guys are taking on Jennings County this Thursday. Is that at Jennings County at 7:30? Tomorrow night, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, we're up there tomorrow night.
How you expect that to go?
Oh, it's going to be a tough one. Jennings is one of the top 2 or 3 teams on our schedule. So tomorrow it's going to be a dogfight. Seymour, I think we had about a 30-point lead at some point on Saturday, and then last night at Crawford we got it up past 35 and had a running clock. And tomorrow at Jennings is going to be an absolute dogfight. Got all the respect in the world for their program. They've got some great players that have multiple Division I offers as sophomores. And so tomorrow's going to be really a measuring stick of kind of where we are.
Yeah, that is pretty spectacular. But it's one of those you prepare for that game. You're any given night. It could go your way, and I feel like the community that we're in. We have been breeding great talent over the last few years, over the last 10, 15 years actually, and I can see the success that your program has had. So I got all the faith in the world that you guys can go up there and pull one off.
We hope so. It's definitely going to be a tough one, and of course, playing on the road is always tough. We had a 1-point game with them here last year, and kind of their strengths are what gives us trouble. They've got big, strong post players, and we're more of a finesse speed team, and so it'll be interesting. We have 2 definitely different styles, and our guards are usually our leading scorers, where their post players are their strength. So as far as basketball goes, I think we're probably the marquee game of the state tomorrow night. It should be a good battle and a lot of fun to watch.
That's awesome. It kind of seems to be a running theme with Salem Athletics is where everything we do is finesse and speed for the most part. With our football program, basketball, even our wrestlers, some of our smallest guys are some of our best guys. So, that's there's something to be said there because we've had some pretty talented, we had a good run in football this year with that speed. You guys have gone to the state championship in basketball. We had a couple of semi-state wrestlers last year. So, that's there's something to be said for that speed and finesse.
Yeah, it'd be, I'd like to have the 6'2", or, for the boys, the 6'8" kid. But right now, we always joke that all our athletes are dating other short athletes and short, small athletes in here. But we're making do with the best we have. Of course, we had Letty a couple years ago that was about 6'2", so that was definitely a nice change of pace. But right now, we're a little slender and we've got some length across the board, but we definitely are more of that speed and finesse team.
Well, Coach, I got to tell you, I grew up in St. Petersburg, Florida, and I went to a school called Dixie Hollins, and we had a boy that was 7'1" and had a size 22 shoe and couldn't play basketball worth anything. His feet got in the way, so maybe not having them big guys isn't too big a deficit there for you.
Yeah, I definitely get that. You hear those stories quite a bit.
He's a good kid. He just wasn't a ball player. All right, Coach. Well, I appreciate you coming on the program tonight, and I look forward to talking to you some more. We're going to have to probably shuffle a schedule around a little bit, so I'll talk with Greg and Becky, and we'll work out more when we can get you back on. We'll wish you guys the best of luck this season. Chris, you got anything you want to add?
Yeah, Coach, when you guys start the season, what's some of the things that you do at the very beginning of the season to get prepared for? Because I noticed a lot of these teams that you guys face is not just necessarily MSC teams.
No, we look these last several years. I mean, we have beefed up our schedule as strong as it can get. The last 3 years, I think we've played every Hoosier Hills Conference school except for Columbus East, and we tried to get them last year, but COVID knocked us out. So, we played Jeffersonville, New Albany, Floyd Central, Bedford. We go Madison. We go after all the big ones. And, of course, 2 years ago, we played in the Hall of Fame, the most prestigious basketball tournament in the state of Indiana. And this year, we're playing up at Brownsburg, and they've got this game we're playing up in Brownsburg. There are 4 teams, I think, ranked in the top 10 in the country playing up there.
Wow.
And so we've really tried to beef up our schedule, play the toughest teams that we can, and that's a big part for us. And,
how many games do you guys play in a season, in a normal season?
how many games do we get? We get 22.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, 22, and then if you play some tournaments, you can get a couple extra. So we have played up to 24 going into the sectional, but right now we only have 20 on our schedule. Our Christmas tournament got canceled, so we're looking to pick up a Christmas tournament, or we'll probably pick up 2 extra games somewhere.
Coach, when's your next home game?
We play Eastern next Friday.
Okay, and that'll be at 7:30 as well, or 7 p.m.?
6 o'clock JV start, 7:30 varsity.
Okay.
That should be a great one. I mean, Eastern's a top 10 2A team, and with the exception of last year, we've just had some real battles. Last year, I think we jumped out on them pretty quick, but that's usually not how it goes. I mean,
right.
It seems like every year it's just a possession or two at the end, real dogfight. So that should be a good one to come out and watch.
All right, Coach. Well, thanks for coming on the show tonight. We'll talk to you the next chance we get, okay?
Sounds good.
Thank you. You have a good night. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we should be back with Coach Andy McCoskey at Salem High School Wrestling.
Large pizza with big foldable slices is packed with extra cheese and extra pepperoni, and it's just $13. Plus, for each shakaroni sold until October 21st, Papa John's will donate $1 to the Papa John's Foundation, benefiting local and national charities. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John. And we're still looking for drivers and insiders. Apply today at papajobs.us.
This is Becky White from WSLM. I'm here at the beautiful John Jones showroom in Salem, Indiana for the John Jones Auto Minute.
Hey everyone, Taylor here from John Jones Salem Service. It's time for that fall maintenance, so if you've been putting it off, the time is now. Stop in and get a free 27-point inspection and a free alignment check with any service. Call today at 877-473-5546 to make your appointment, or just stop in and see us. 1450 South State Road 60, Salem, Indiana. We look forward to seeing you.
At John Jones GM City, you see so many because they paid so little.
Whenever the forecast is nice, you're probably thinking about enjoying the great outdoors. Whether that means doing some four-wheeling or hitting the road in an RV, First Harrison Bank can help make your dreams a reality with a loan designed to meet your needs. Talk with one of our associates about our options for RV, boat, and camper financing. If you're looking for a great auto loan, we can help with that too. To get started, just visit us at firstharrison.com. Keep it easy, keep it local. Subject to credit approval, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Keep playing. Keep working. Keep going. And keep moving with the unmatched orthopedic care at Baptist Health. With a best-in-class team and procedures you won't find anywhere else in the region. It's no wonder most people choose Baptist to help them keep on. Keeping on. Visit BaptistHealth.com/ortho to find a Baptist Health provider.
Let's get on our feet and give a big hand to the starting lineup at McDonald's here in Salem. The quarter pounders coming on the field. Filet of fish and those golden delicious fries are warming up on the sideline. And now for the feature star of the night, the Big Mac. You'll score every time with a hot, fresh meal from McDonald's in Salem, whether you're there for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Take a time out and stop by before or after the big game to check out their all-day breakfast menu or value menu. Download the McDonald's app and you can get great deals on delicious tastes all day long, including buy 5 McCafe drinks and get one free. You'll score every time with the wife and kids when you make a touchdown at the Golden Arches right here in Salem. And don't forget, McDonald's has gift cards so you can give that great fresh taste all season long. Or stop by 601 South Main Street today. And be sure to tune in on Wednesday nights at 7 for WSLM. We're broadcasting live at McDonald's for Coach's Corner.
Indiana football is back.
Hoosiers are threatening at the 3-yard line. Hoosier fans, Indiana football tickets are on sale now for November home games. Catch the action in Memorial Stadium as head coach Tom Allen leads the Hoosiers in the battle against the Rutgers Scarlet Knights on November 13th. For information or to purchase tickets, visit IUHoosiers.com. Support the Hoosiers in 2021. Go IU.
15 to 10 to 5 touchdown. How about that?
Hi, I'm Justin Green, Mayor of the City of Salem. Too often, unused prescription drugs find their way into the wrong hands. That's dangerous and often tragic. According to a 2019 national survey on drug use and health, statistics showed that a majority of misused prescription drugs were obtained from family and friends, often from the home medicine cabinet. That's why it is great to see folks from across the city clean out their medicine cabinets and turn in safely and anonymously their prescription drugs at the City of Salem's drop-off site inside the local police station. If you need more information on this free service of the City of Salem, please give the Salem Police Department a call at 812-883-5100. Let's tackle these unused drugs and make the city safe. Thanks.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back and we're live with Coach Andy McCoskey. How you doing tonight, Andy?
Good, man. How are you guys?
Oh, we're pretty good. I got Chris Hunt here co-hosting with me, and our engineer is Greg tonight. We want to extend Coach's Corner a little bit, and we're going to get into the winter sports. First time we've ever done this, and we kind of wanted to get to know some of the coaches around, and I decided tonight that we would do some girls basketball and some Salem wrestling. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Andy. I know that this is your second year coaching varsity wrestling, and you did 2 years of middle school wrestling at Salem. What was your experience? I know you were from Providence, weren't you?
Yeah, I graduated from Providence in 2005.
And you wrestled out there for what's their coach's name? He's still there, isn't he?
Phil Cook. No, Phil Cook is retired. His son-in-law actually took over, Brad Davidson.
Okay, yeah, Brad. So, given that wrestling doesn't get much of a we don't get much of a publicity. We get looked over kind of. Let's let everybody know what kind of preparation goes into the preseason before anybody ever steps on the mat at any of these tournaments.
Oh man, there are countless hours of thinking and planning. Not only practices, but practices for the team, but practices and situations for individuals. This isn't a basketball where we have 5 guys on the court, whatever it is. I was a wrestler, so I'm not real sure.
I'm the same way. I had a real hard time with understanding what our last guest was talking about with basketball, but that's what I got Chris and Greg for.
Yeah.
But yeah, people don't realize how much of an individual sport wrestling is, and your weight classes, everything varies because your little guys are quick and they're going to be more technical wrestlers, and then your big guys are going to be more brute force wrestlers, and there's a whole gambit of kids that you've got to be able to work towards and push in a certain direction. Plus, if you've got any depth on your chart, on your team, you've got a lot of kids that you've got to handle and have an individual plan for.
Absolutely.
I mean, once they step on that mat, they're there for themselves by themselves.
Yep, they are on their own.
And and the best thing that I can do is cater their individual needs as far as growing their physical, their mental, their emotional, their everything. And that's tough to do with. Of course, I've got 16 kids this year. It's about double our average from the last, I think, decade. I think.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. But it also makes it harder on my assistant coach and myself to try to figure out how to fine tune these individual athletes and what we need them to be and what they need to be themselves.
Yeah, and there's so much that goes into it because you've got kids that have got to maintain weight, you've got kids that have got to lose weight, you've got kids that have got to come up in weight. You know, they've got to have so many weigh-ins at a certain weight to make sectional, and you know, there's so much to it.
There really is. I mean, the IHSAA does a fantastic job of, you know, keeping the athletes safe and keeping us in line with exactly what we need to do. But that checklist is a mile long. I mean, just a mile long. And it amazed me last year. You know, first year things are always different. But the list of things that I had to have checked off for these wrestlers for them to go into sectional.
Oh yeah, and especially this past year, your first year, and the COVID year. You know, I did not envy you whatsoever on that whole situation, and that just added extra boxes to be checked.
Yeah, it was a tough one. You know, I mean, I think you know, with wrestling it's kind of different. I mean, the mask things, but you know, they kept telling us to disinfect this and disinfect that and disinfect this. I mean, as wrestlers in that wrestling room, we disinfect that mat every single night.
Yeah, that mat gets washed every night.
Every single night. The medicine balls gets washed every night. The weights, everything that we mess with. I mean, because of the environment that we wrestle in. I mean, it's disinfected every single day. So the masks were different. The biggest thing that happened to me last year with COVID that I didn't like was the handshakes. You know, kids, you know, got to shake each other's hands, got to shake the opponent's hands while they were on the match, but they couldn't shake the coach's hands.
Yeah, it was weird seeing the wave or the nods and things like that. And my kid did the little judo nod bow thing. Yeah, so it was a little weird getting to see the not getting to shake that opponent's hand, or the opposing kid's hand, and give him those words of encouragement whether he won or lost.
Yeah, yes. I mean, and that's a respect thing to me too. Yep. You know, I mean, I'm humongous on respect in that room, man, to the referees and to the other teams and to the other team schools and everything. And that, to me, that, you know, looking in the opponent's eye, looking in the coach's eye, looking in the referee's eye, and shaking his hand. I mean, that was a big part of that, you know, process, that match process, that mental side, that spiritual side almost, that taken away, that really drove me nuts last year.
Oh yeah, and like I said, I'm right there with you, because I was on that mat with those kids 2 years ago, and that really is that, getting to shake that kid's hand and just showing the mutual respect, wrestling is a tight-knit community compared to other sports, because you're going to see that kid. You may end up seeing a certain kid several times during the year, at tournaments or at invitationals or at sectionals or whatever. And those kids kind of grow a relationship. So, not being able to, tell a kid, I've been watching you for a couple of years. You're doing really good. Keep up what you're doing. It kind of takes away from it. And I understand that.
Yes, it does. I mean, those kids, I mean, they, being the close-knit, like you said, close-knit kind of family, close-knit community that we are. I mean, some of these, some kids that I had in middle school are going to be wrestling just about the same guy all the way up through senior year. Right. I mean, it's kind of amazing. I mean, the kids get that relationship. The parents know each other. I mean, and that's a very personal, back and forth between them. They don't see them on the same field, on the same court with there again 12 or 22 other kids. I mean, that's them, and it's only them.
Yeah, and
it's a very personal thing.
It's unique, in that manner. And like you said, like a couple years ago, we had Aaron Holland. He was in a three-way death match most of the time with Dalton Panare from Eastern and the Murphy kid from Brett Murphy from no, not Brett Murphy.
No, not Brett.
What the Murphy boy from West Washington. So like every time we would go to a meet, they were wrestling. You know, it was them three against each other, or I can't remember the heavy from Madison, but you know, it was always like a rivalry right there. But they were always the best friends off the mat.
Yeah. That's an amazing thing to see. I mean, honestly, you know, that's the old days. You know, these boys would get in fist fights in the backyard, and then of course parents come break it up, shake your head, shake each other's hands, and next thing you know, they're best friends playing on the playground.
That's right. That's right.
It's a very old school centered kind of feel to this sport, which
right. And you know, it's the oldest sport in the world. You know, it's the oldest sport in the world that we're still doing today, and it's all about, you know, you being the top shape that you can be in and going out there and, you know, being the top dog. You know, by the end of the third period, you should be, you know, dominant in that sport. And, you know, there's a lot of stigma. I think more kids would wrestle if there was, you know, wasn't such a stigma against, you know, like the singlet. Nobody likes to wear the singlet. You know, it's high school and they all feel weird about themselves and stuff. But they've kind of loosened up on that to where they'll allow you to wear battle shorts and a t-shirt and things like that. To me, I think that's just a little bit of, you know, something to break a finger on. So I would prefer, you know, the singlet just because of the fact that, you know, there's less obstruction. But I think if you could get past that, you could probably pull some more of these kids that, you know, some of these football players that are, you know, sitting around doing nothing right now, the ones that aren't playing basketball. It would be nice to see a depth chart like South Oldham County had, you know, where their entire football team was also wrestlers, and they were, you know, running 4 and 5 deep in a weight class.
Yeah. Yep.
It's
you know, that's a program. I mean, you know, that's kind of like Floyd Central. You know, that's a program that we can't contend with.
Yeah.
You know, because of our numbers, because of our school size, because of that, and it's amazing. I mean, even in our sectional, I mean, biggest threat in our sectional is Jeffersonville. Now, why in the world would we be wrestling the same student body size as Jeffersonville? I mean, that's wild to me.
Well, you know, and that's you bring up an interesting point, because even in the state tournament, you know, the way that works out is, and in basketball, football, any of the other sports, you're playing, you know, 3A or you're playing 4A. In wrestling, 1A to 6A is in the same bunch. That's why
it's a weight class. It's
just a weight class. And you know, that seems unfair to me, because you know, when you've got a small school, you're not going to be able to pick from 5 heavyweights. You know, you're not going to be able to pick from 5 145s. You know what I mean?
And you're also at a point to where, you know, you have kids that are wrestling that, you know, that they might be wrestling, you know, at 145, and they might be wrestling at 160, and the 160 is really not getting the workout like what some of these bigger schools are doing. You know, like, you know, for instance, you know, you have Grayson and Jimmy as a heavyweight. You know, right now that's actually kind of a good combination because they're able to work together. But if something was to happen to one or the other, you have a heavyweight out there that's wrestling, you know, a 220 or something like that in the wrestling room to try to get a workout, and that's pretty difficult to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And even on the grade scale, like having a freshman come in that's a bigger kid. That's maybe a 220, and having to wrestle with a senior that's a 220, that gets intimidating, you know. But there's not a whole lot you can do about that without having the numbers.
No, there's nothing you can do about that.
You know, it's like Nate. You know, my son right now, he's you know, a heavy 195 working down. He wants to wrestle at 182. He's on his way there. But he's in that middle ground between, you're either going to have to wrestle with the 220s or the heavies, or you're going to have to wrestle with the 160, 170s, and you're just going to throw them around. So it's one of those that you just got to find that you got to get the best workout out of them that you can. And I know that as a coach, that's hard to do.
It is hard to do, and that's, you know, going back to, you know, what you asked me earlier. You know, how do we prepare for the season? I mean, that's a big part of it. I mean, just trying to find, you know, middle folk guys to have somebody wrestle against, have somebody practice against, to try to make them better. Because you know, you get you get Nate out there with our other first year 220. I mean, he looked at me the other day. He said, "Coach, I need somebody else." I said, "Buddy, I know you need somebody else. I need somebody else too." You know. That's the best matchup that I can get him right now as far as weight.
Right. And it is what it is. You don't have to work with what you can get. And some of these kids is the leadership that some of the older kids, the leadership that they're going to bring to it is also going to help those younger kids, and the experience. Nate's a 4-year. Well, he's he wrestled since middle school, so he's more like a 6-year wrestler.
Oh, he wrestled.
Well, he wrestled in third grade.
Yeah, he even wrestled. Back in the day. I mean, back when he was in elementary school. So
it wasn't his thing back then. But then you've got a kid like him, and then like Blake, and some of the kids that have been through the ringer from elementary school and on, bringing their experience to it. That's going to help out that freshman kid that at 220 and maybe motivate him to drop a weight class and things like that. So. Yep. Having that experience, and you've got some really good talent in that wrestling room, and a lot of that you developed at the middle school. And I think I've told you before how proud I was of what you were doing at the middle school level, and now to get to bring those kids on through, that's something special.
Yeah, it's an exciting prospect. It really is. To have the kids that I've already coached for so long, still looking to coach them for the next 3 or 4 years. I mean, that's very exciting. Even more exciting than that, I think 8th graders now is the very first class that had the opportunity to wrestle the entire gambit of the club all the way to high school.
Yeah, that would probably be about right.
Now instead of getting like your son, a 6-year wrestler, now I could be getting a 12-year wrestler.
Right.
Which is insane for me to try to put on the mat. Because that's very exciting to me. To have that experience in that room, to have those really truly dedicated wrestlers coming up to me is fantastic. It's very exciting.
Yeah, you have you have some 8th grade wrestlers coming up that like Walters, Braden, or you look at Dylan. You look at those wrestlers. And they're coming up, and they're just, they're phenomenal because, they've had that experience.
Lived and breathed it.
They really have. And, when you look at, what we've got coming up in the future, I'm super excited. I'm pretty quiet when it comes to, when we go to a wrestling mate. And, I think the only one louder as me is Lacey. I'm pretty sure that Lacey's got me by a little bit, but, I talk a little bit more. But, when you look at what's coming up, what is some of the things that we're going to do in the future to expand that wrestling room? Because I know right now you're pretty much at capacity.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
Actually, you're above capacity.
Last year they let us started to commandeer 50% of the baseball room.
Yeah.
And now we're commandeering like almost 75% of the baseball room.
See, whenever I was assistant coach up there, I had talked to Hank, and Hank said that he would like to see us move the bus depot, and that building that the bus depot's in now would be an excellent wrestling room. And you're talking about a low budget thing to do is just throw up a new building over on the other side of the soccer field, gravel it, and there's your bus depot. So those are the things that me and Curtis Walter started that Make America Wrestle Again initiative a few years ago.
I remember that. Yeah,
that's one of those things that we're trying to get more. Whenever Mark and I first started coaching in the varsity level, Hank straight up told us, wrestling is always in the red. So that's one of those things that I would love to be able to promote more. Get more people in the stands, especially we've got 3 home meets this year, correct?
Oh man, three or more. We have a lot this year.
Right. So
and that's
it's gonna count to get those people's butts in those seats. And I tell you what, when they get their butts in those seats, they've never seen anything like it. It's one of those sports that's so exciting because it's hand-to-hand combat down there basically. And it's one of those things that you're not rooting necessarily for 11 kids on a team. You're rooting for that kid at that point, and it's more personal that way.
Oh, much more, much more. I mean, I was in a couple years ago. I went to a college match, a college wrestling match, and it was up in Bloomington, and they had this entire facility, and I say facility, and I mean humongous building facility for this college team.
Yeah.
And everybody was packed in there. It was kind of like a sunken gym kind of thing.
Yep.
And the last kid of the night, of course, we're watching this last kid of the night pin the kid. It was the only pin we saw all night. And the thunder out of that crowd when that kid got stuck was, I mean, it shook me to my core. You know what I mean? I've been around wrestling and competition and, you know, this kind of thing for a long time. But I mean, it was fantastic. It was more exciting than any touchdown you will ever see. I mean, it is an experience all on its own.
And you know, it's funny because the things you hear come out of Matt Mom's mouths at a wrestling meet are something that they're going to have to go to church the next day and pray for forgiveness on because they get pretty rowdy down there. Somebody is down there messing with their baby and they're not having it.
I remember one match in particular. My wife actually said, "Break his arm," and I said, "You can't say that." And she goes, "Well, I was trying to say break his arm down," and you know that's been the argument every year. You know, it's like, well, you don't tell Gavin to break the kid's arm. You know,
because that becomes a whole different situation.
Exactly. You got a fan also, Andy. Do you know you have fans out there that you know strive to be just like you?
I had a couple kids get a haircut like me, but I haven't looked at it too much yet.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as long as you don't have a perm, we're good.
Yes.
That is such a cool thing for me. I mean, this coaching thing, I haven't done it for a long time, but I started coaching the T-ball stuff with Brady. I don't know how many years ago, but you know the things that you don't know that's coming, the things that surprise you. And touch you like that. I mean, just a kid trying to cut his hair like me and just be like me and have that sense of, you know, I really am a role model for these kids is a fantastic thing for me.
And you know, that's that, you know, we talk about that a lot with the youth football, that, you know, Chris and I have been involved with that for over 10 years. And, you know, some of our seniors this year were some of our first kids that we've coached. And have you seen Carson Cook lately? That boy is trying to grow my beard.
Yeah, buddy.
And I tell you what,
I pray he does not try to look any more like you, because you do have a face for radio. I mean, I'm just saying.
A face for radio. I just seen Cookie over at Walmart. And that's one, you know, another thing that, you know, once you coach these kids so long, and I'm sure you probably already experienced it, but Carson Cook, for example, because since we brought him up, every time I see that kid, you know, I love you, coach, and, you know, or he calls me dad most of the time. And, you know, that's something that always warms my heart. You know, every time I see some of these boys, I was that guy after every football game. I was standing there either after the locker room or as they're coming off the field. Every one of those boys got a hug from me. And, you know, because, I've known them since they were in third grade or longer. So when you've had kids come that far with you, it really is something special, and they become part of your family.
Yeah. It's a very, very, very cool thing to be part of. It really is.
Yeah.
Now, Coach, you also had to change some things up this year. You know, I know last year, you know, was the first year of coaching varsity. What's some of the things that you've actually changed this year versus last year?
I cranked it up to 10 right off the bat. You know, last year I came in and I wasn't soft-footed about it because I'm not a soft kind of guy, but I eased them into things last year because I thought that's what they needed, because that's what my middle school needed, right?
Right.
They didn't need that. They didn't need that, and that ended up, you know, us being half the season and still being gassed out at the third period, which is an absolute no-no.
Right,
you know what I mean? So this year, I hit them hard right out of the gate. I mean, we didn't mess around. I changed the way we start practices instead of kind of doing our skills work right off the bat, and then, you know, later on, last half an hour, really beating them to death. I have split them up into two and done different things with each set for about the first half an hour, then the skills, and then more conditioning.
Yeah, and, you know, that's the thing. People don't understand. If you want to work out and you want to be, you know, this cut-up athlete, become a wrestler because
Oh my gosh,
yes. The workouts that we had, we made them run 3 miles before they came to practice, and then we went through some cardio, and then we did some live wrestling and some instructions, and then we went back to cardio. So I mean, cardio is the name of the game when it comes to wrestling.
Yes, sir.
So I understand.
I had to change. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand how physical and how draining. What you get those kids warmed up, and if you go over to the Jeff Jordan camps, they crank the heat up in that gymnasium, to 80 degrees and really get them sweating and working. So the amount of work and fatigue that you put into those kids, you definitely see that pay off at the end of the season.
Yep, absolutely. Not only physically but mentally.
Right.
I mean, wrestling is, as far as I'm concerned, the toughest on both those counts.
Yeah.
I mean, not only the physical, just not only the exhaustion, not only sweating, not only the cutting weight, not only the individual loss, because you don't have anybody else to blame that on but yourself.
That's right.
But the mental aspect, the other side of that coin. I mean, I'm doing all this and I'm putting all this into it, and now I'm still getting beat. And that's what some of these young guys have to come to terms with and be okay with, is that mental part of it. I mean, they got to be just as mentally tough as they do physically for all this stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Because, and like you said, there's nothing more heartbreaking than to see a kid, pour his heart out on that mat and just can't get it done, and the heartbreak in his face at the end of that match. Because you still got to stand there and be respectful. You still got to shake this man's hand. Then you've got to go shake these coaches' hands, and you've got to maintain yourself, because this, wrestling is one of the few sports that you are going to get called on any etiquette, that goes awry, that out of, anywhere. So, like my boy got a technical last year for, he got mad and slapped the mat. He said a few choice words, but the crowd didn't hear it, or it would have been much worse. So he had he had to own up to that, and he took his punishment like a man. I don't know. I think you took it a little soft on him. I would have got a little more into him, but that's because I'm his dad.
I did. I let him slide. I really did. But I mean, even though crying out loud, how many times a day do I lose my temper at the job site?
Right.
I mean, crying out loud, I definitely can't say on the radio what comes out of my mouth on the job site.
I never lose my temper though.
You don't know how many people have been betting on me getting fired from the radio.
He practiced like a month before,
That's that self-control part that these young men learn with this wrestling. I mean, it is absolutely 110% the sweetest victory and the most devastating loss you will ever experience in your life.
That's right, because it's all on you.
And you have to compose yourself through both of those aspects.
Yeah,
and then throwing your headgear in the crowd. You're going to get a technical.
That's right.
You can't be dropping your straps walking off the mat. You're going to get technical for it because it's unsportsmanlike conduct.
And he got lucky on that, because that was right before sectional. It almost put him out of sectional.
Yeah.
Coach, when you look at, I encourage anybody to come, to these wrestling matches, because I can tell you this, it's not wrestling like it was back in the day. It's wrestling. It's actually, professional. It's very, technical, and, it's so exciting to watch these kids. And, when because it's 3 minutes, per period. That's what we're going on. Is it 3 minutes still per period?
2 minutes per period.
2 minutes per period, 3 periods.
Okay, so
3 periods.
So for those
in middle school, some of them are 1.5 minutes.
But for those 2 minutes, you're watching this kid out there just absolutely work his hind end off, and absolutely when he comes off the mat after you think 6 minutes, that's not very long, but they're worn absolutely out, and they come off that mat and they're just like. And they've been working for this. I mean, they like you said, all the cardio, all the work that they do, and they come off that mat, and you think, oh my gosh, it's only 6 minutes.
Yeah. You want to roll for 6 minutes?
No, I don't. After watching all the wrestling, that's the reason. I'm not going to mess around with people anymore, because I'm like, I don't want to wrestle for 6 minutes. I'm and I think Andy, you actually. you told Grayson this year you're not going to wrestle with him because we are getting older. I mean, I told Grayson, I said, I'm not going to mess with you anymore. I'm going to just hit you in the head with a board.
Yeah, ask Nate how that question, how that situation went. Look, I'm not going to wrestle with you. I'm just going to knock you out.
Yep. Yeah.
You are too big a boy for me to be wrestling with.
Yeah.
And then I'm hoping to study you for a second. I can get at least a running start.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
I don't wrestle with heavies anymore. I'd want to, something deep down in my soul calls me to wrestle with that boy and Jimmy every time I step into that wrestling ring. It really does.
But then common sense.
I couldn't necessarily put myself in that position because if something were to happen, and I've had several close calls, wrestling with Grayson actually, that would put the whole team in a hurt if something actually did happen to me. So
that, and also
back away from the heavyweights. Anybody over 60 pounds than me, I usually try to stay away from.
And we have to work for a living to be able to provide for our families.
That's what people don't understand. You get a little salary as the varsity wrestling coach, but it ain't enough to supplement a need.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, it's not.
All right, Eddie. Well, we've taken up enough of your time, buddy. I appreciate you calling in. I'm going to let you get off here and go get you some supper, and appreciate your time. And I'll get with you on when we want you to call in on the next one.
Wonderful. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. It really has. I've been on radio before, so thank you guys for having me.
You're very welcome.
No problem, man. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, Eddie. Be good. Bye. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back with a little bit of inspiration.
This is Becky White from WSLM. I'm here at the beautiful John Jones showroom in Salem, Indiana for the John Jones Auto Minute.
Hello there, and this is Jalen Hoare over at John Jones Chevrolet Buick Cadillac in Salem, Indiana. Fall is beginning, and I know that everybody is hearing of all the shortages of cars, but that is not true whenever it comes to John Jones Chevrolet. We've got over 550 used cars, 210 being just at our Salem location. With those vehicles, even though they are pre-owned, we do offer financing options. A lot of those are including $0 down. Now, with those used cars, we are accepting trade-ins. Trade-in values are better than ever and probably better than we will ever see again. So with that being said, give us a call over at John Jones at 877-473-5546 or check out our inventory online at johnjonesautogroup.com.
At John Jones GM City, you see so many because they paid so little.
See Celebrity Home Loans in Salem, where everyone gets treated like a star. Come experience the star treatment with us. You'll never go back to the ordinary home loan experience again. Stop in today and see Dennis Baxter, branch manager of the Salem office, to start working on a new home loan or refinancing today. They've served nearly 50,000 families with over $15 billion in loans. Stop in and see Dennis and his staff. They're ready to work with you today. As a star, you expect the best, and that's all Celebrity Home Loans has to offer. Nothing off the rack. We're talking fine living, designer fashion home loans around here. Come by today and see Dennis or Autumn at 18 Public Square, Suite A, or call for an appointment. 812-883-0670. Remember, at Celebrity Home Loans, you're the star.
Hi, I'm Justin Green, Mayor of the City of Salem. Go Salem Lions! If you're planning that bonfire during or after the football game this fall, please use caution. I want to remind you to be safe around your bonfires and avoid starting any fires during extremely dry conditions. Also, I want to remind you that only fires you can have in the City of Salem limits should be no bigger than a 3-foot square area and 3 foot high. Burning brush and leaves in the city limits is prohibited. Just like the Salem Lions, we're proud of the hard work our firefighters do at the City of Salem Fire Department. If you have any questions, please give our fire department a call at 812-883-4970. Thanks.
At American Family Insurance, we know your life has many moving parts, from your 4 wheels to your hard-earned home and the financial future of your family. We'll cover the things that matter most. Bundle your home and auto policies for possible savings and add life insurance for convenient, future-focused protection so you can keep dreaming towards what's next. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies. American Family Life Insurance Company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
For details, contact Rodney Bruff, agent at Rodney S. Bruff Agency Incorporated. Call 812-277-1400 or stop by 1528 L Street in Bedford today.
Keep playing. Keep working. Keep going. And keep moving with the unmatched orthopedic care at Baptist Health. With a best-in-class team and procedures you won't find anywhere else in the region. It's no wonder most people choose Baptist to help them keep on. Keeping on. Visit baptisthealth.com/ortho to find a Baptist Health provider.
If you're
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and tonight's inspirational quote comes, surprise, surprise, from a wrestler, Dan Gable. All right, so it goes like this: gold medals aren't made of gold; they're made of sweat, determination, and a hard to find alloy called guts. Now, if that's not the epitome of what some of these contact sports are, even team sports. You've got to put your all into this. You can't be afraid to do the work. You're only going to be as good as you practice, as good as you put in. So you're only going to get out what you put in. This isn't like the stock market where you can buy in low and cash out high. You have got to work for every bit of that.
Is that how that works?
That's how that works.
I haven't figured it out yet.
Listen. Roblox today just about devastated a guy at work. I told him to sell out last night. And then today it crashes and he's screwed.
Yeah,
so, yeah. Anyways, but as I was saying,
we even talk about the stock market on this channel. Tell you, this is amazing. Everyone, Bitcoin.
We've had Bitcoin conversations.
Yeah.
But like I said, the level of sweat equity that you want to put into something, and that goes with anything in life. The work that you put in, nothing is free. The work that you put in is your payment. You've got to work to your highest expectations, above your highest expectations. I've always told, like with tackling drills, I've always told our kids, if you're going to tackle, try to tackle the guy that's behind who you're tackling. So and that's the same thing. You want to keep your eyes on that prize, and you want to go beyond that. You want to try. You want to put in enough effort that you're going to reach your goal and then some. That way there's no disappointment. You've got to be satisfied. You'll be satisfied with what you get from your sweat equity. So like I said, it's an effort-based system. Everything has got to be worked for. Nothing in life comes for free. And that's one thing that we try to teach the little guys all the way up to the big guys in high school sports. You've got to put in the work. You've got to put in the effort. If you don't put in the effort, you can't expect good results.
Well, another thing, when you said, you can't get anything for free. Well, if it's free, it's not worth anything.
Right. Free, like they say, there's no such thing as a free lunch. There's always something. There's always a drawback to something. It may look good, but not everything that's shiny is gold. So you've got to work to get anything out of that in life, and that's something that you try to teach your son, and I've tried to teach my son, and look at how well it's paid off. Your son was a starter, varsity starter this year as a junior, and he's always been that kid that is just next. It's his turn.
Yeah.
With my son, he's going off to the military after school. And,
which I'm very proud of, by the way.
And that was such a surprise to us. Just like whenever he came to us and said he wanted to wrestle in middle school. He wrestled in elementary school and absolutely hated it. Came to us in 7th grade, said he was going to wrestle again, and that has been his sport ever since.
Well, it's kind of like with my kids when they came to me, back in elementary school, and they said they wanted to wrestle. I'm just going to be honest with you. It was horrible. I hated it. It was like I'm there all day.
Those long days and weekend tournaments.
I had every electronic device you could possibly buy at that point, which was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was horrible. It was like you're there all day, and it's like, come on.
Yeah.
But now when he came to me in middle school and said he wanted to wrestle, I was like, oh, here we go again. This is going to be horrible. And
but they're at an age by then that
we got into it. It's like, this is really cool,
Yeah, and like I said, there's nothing like being standing there, watching this go down. And matter of fact, whenever I went up and helped coach the club, a few years ago, Gavin was wrestling in Diesel City.
Yes,
and
yes.
I had to turn around and calm you down.
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
thought you were going to come down and get after a ref.
Yeah.
You know, so you get
that was the first of many little heart attacks that I've had in my since my kids have been wrestling.
Well, we coached a lot of stuff together.
Gosh, I know. We shouldn't even like each other anymore.
I don't like you. You're just, you're my big squash friend.
That's the reason we only talk once a week, because if we actually talk any more than that, we're gonna get an argument that's not gonna last long. So,
and then you get the dream team together, and if we're not on a field coaching some kids, we're trying to kill each other. All right, folks. So that's going to be all for this evening. I hope you enjoyed this this episode of Coach's Corner, and give us some feedback. What do you guys want to hear about? We're going to get a few more coaches on the line throughout the weeks here,
and if you have a question to ask during the broadcast, text me or Nate. We'll make sure we get our number out there on Facebook, so that way everybody can actually text us
or even message Rebecca White on Facebook.
Yes.
We'll get the message, and we'll get your question aired. And
Trevor Smedley actually texted me during the broadcast a few weeks ago, and it's like, come on, Trevor, go.
Yeah, Trevor will text us. I've had Ryan Larimore, my co-host, on Friday nights. He's texted us and let us know some things or asked us some questions. So feel free to even before the show, through the week, send us a message. We'll get your question on air. So like I said, I hope you've enjoyed the winter sports edition of Coach's Corner tonight. We're gonna try to spread it out to where we more evenly get with basketball and wrestling. It's kind of hard for us because we were wrestling, based. I was a wrestling coach, and so we went a little longer with Coach Andy tonight. But we're going to get everybody their fair shake, and we're going to get all the schools involved, and we may even get some former NCAA athletes to call in and do some interviews with them. So, all right, well, you guys have a great evening, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
Bye, y'all. God bless.
See Celebrity Home Loans in Salem, where everyone gets treated like a star. Come experience the star treatment with us. You'll never go back to the ordinary home loan experience again. Stop in today and see Dennis Baxter, branch manager of the Salem office, to start working on a new home loan or refinancing today. They've served nearly 50,000 families with over $15 billion in loans. Stop in and see Dennis and his staff. They're ready to work with you today. As a star, you expect the best, and that's all Celebrity Home Loans has to offer. Nothing off the rack. We're talking